Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Sleeping Warrior, Righteous Force, Chocolate Saiyan and 10th Man in G+, together with a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Before we get into some housekeeping, I've achieved my GoFundMe target. Hooray! So I'm going to read out some of the comments that I've had from some of the people who've donated, then I'm going to explain precisely what I'm going to do. I'll try and keep this brief so it doesn't end up being an endless drone about e-begging for an iPad, but I'll just shout out the comments from all the people who contributed and actually left a comment on the site. So is it Zami Casales, who donated £92, said, systematically demolishing, yay, the Nathan Oakley Show and coffee at 6 a.m, the best. Thank you very much indeed for your comment. Also, Wolfie6020 NASA Shill donated £33 and said, I donated because I feel sorry for this man's family. Getting his iPad might give them a brief respite from his tantrums. Well, if that's the genuine Wolfie6020, they tend not to be around while I'm doing the shows, if you want to call those tantrums. But nevertheless, thank you very much indeed for your support. The Rumpus donated £5 and said, you kick my ass. Thank you very much for your support. Bo, which is BMLSB69, he donated £39, said, you kick ass, Nathan. I think that was actually, it should have read chronologically, so it's like Bo says, you kick ass, Nathan, then the following donator under Rumpus's name says, you kick my ass. So there we go. Rodney Chan, thank you very much for your donation, said the earth is flat. Del West Watson, thank you very much for your donation, says Nathan is a silver umbrella, donated £20, said, thank you for all your hard work, really appreciate it, silver umbrella. Yano Savoy, donated £50. Quest for truth is worth every penny, thank you very much indeed. One of my favourites. Go on, Anthony, if you're going to interrupt every
Let me
single
just ask,
shout out.
I know you're plugging all the things and that's really credible, but at the end, just tell us what it is that you use it for and why you need it, because I really want to know.
Sure. Last but by no means least, so burn fat till my stomach is as flat as the earth. He says, hi Nathan, burn fat here. I think the show is great and I hope this small donation helps. Share your pain. But he also had, and I'll just bring it up, actually put it on screen. So he put a little meme which says, the truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Let it loose and it will defend itself. And I paraphrased that and said, the truth is like a weaponized black swan. Give it a gun. It'll go out and shoot glowheads. Anyway, so thank you very much to all of you for supporting. So you want to know what I'm using the iPad for? Basically, absolutely everything. So while these shows are running live, I monitor the live show. So I've got a separate, completely separate from the computer, audio feed that I can actually check how everything's functioning, monitor the live chat, things like that. Same goes for the premiering show. So I tend to be, well, I'm always in the live chat, monitoring it, and I do that on the iPad. Every edited video I make, full stop, is made on the iPad. All of my management of email and all the general administration that any YouTuber would be done, I do with the iPad. So essentially 90% of the work I do in relation to the channel is done on the iPad, which is why the old one's knackered. So it's onto its second screen. It's had work done on the digitizer. It's been re-glued back together several times. It's just not working correctly, and it's driving me nuts as it flicks between various applications I'm using while I'm in the middle of using them, and various other irritating things. Half the side of the digitizer doesn't work on the one I've got now. But as I said in the pre-show, when I spec'd out how much a direct replacement would cost, that's what I came up with in terms of 1,400 quid. It's 1,330 quid for a direct replacement. But that brings me nicely onto what I'm going to do. So, although I'm repeating myself for those watching on the second channel, Nathan Oakley, subscribe today, link below. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually spec it out with the audience. So I'm going to run a stream where I have the pre-order screen there, so you can see precisely what the specs are and what I'm going to order, and I'll ask the audience what specs they want, and I'll say, what colour should I order, and take a straw poll for whatever they say I should order. My wife was like, they'll order a pink one, and I'm like, yeah, if that's what they want, then that's what I'll order. Fine, if that's what the contributors want me to have, I'll have a pink iPad, no problem, if that's what they want. But the point is that I'll actually go through the specs, and you can see on screen what I'm actually ordering, and then I'll order it. Fortunately, they're about to release a brand new generation, which will hopefully increase the longevity. They tend to cobble these things by generation, so I'd rather have one that was absolutely brand spanking new, and they're going to announce that in the next couple of weeks, at which point, when they do announce it, I'll shut down the GoFundMe campaign, and then a couple of weeks after that, they'll open a pre-order screen, whatever that is, on the Apple site. I don't really know, I've never used it, but like I say, I'll go through that with the actual audience, and you can see me ordering it, and then when it comes, I'll do an unboxing video.
To be honest, there's another perspective that you may not have considered with this, and I'm going to just say like a massive thank you to everybody too, because previously in the past, when anybody does a GoFundMe, I always feel obligated to contribute in some way. Now, as it happens, I had my eye on something on eBay, and I wanted to buy something, so I just didn't want to contribute because I wanted to buy something for myself this time. And in the past, I've had problems with donating too much for different people doing different GoFundMes, this, that, and the other. As the show gets more popular and more people are supporting it, it removes that burden for me, or that perception of an obligation to support my friend whilst he's doing his thing, because other people are doing it for me, which is great. But it just allows it does allow the show to continue. I don't know what I'd do without having somewhere to come and battle these idiots and talk openly about this topic. So for me, it's fantastic, and I think it's great that you've got it as quick as you got it. And massive shout out to everyone that helped, because it meant that I didn't have to do it this time, and I could get something for myself for once.
You already got it. Damn, that was quick.
Yeah, it was. I'm bowled over. Like I say, the level of support was absolutely overwhelming. People contacting me saying, do you want this piece of hardware? I'm like, wow, yeah, I do, but I know I won't use it.
I got it for a second.
You want to say yes to everybody, but by the same token, you don't want to take something off somebody and then find that you don't actually use it. So it feels really bad, because on the one hand, you're like,
better jab at me.
Well, it's one of those things. I mean, I'm sure in the past you've run campaigns successfully or unsuccessfully, and it's just about whether or not you're promoting something that people see as worthwhile. And I didn't know if people would see me replacing an already existing iPad. You're kind of chewing your fingers going, are people actually going to want to do this? I'm literally setting up the campaign on the iPad. So will people justify me replacing something that's worn out? Now, I felt I needed a replacement. I've been cursing it for the last few months. So I just haven't got the money to do it, which is precisely in my mind what those campaigns are for. I can't afford to fund something, but ultimately it's very integral to the channel. So why not? Crowdfund it. I've been successful. I'll share the experience of buying it with them, and hopefully everyone's happy. No one's put
the other thing I noticed was the timing of it couldn't really have been any worse. I don't know about anybody else, but I keep getting the ball of trolls asking me about where Ranty's drone is. Now, I've got no reason to suspect Ranty's not got a drone. I've got every reason to believe that he did, but I still get it every other couple of days from one or two of the ball of trolls, and I'm sure Nathan gets it too and all that. And when Nathan first suggested it, I said, just let the Ranty drone thing die down, because if you go asking for it right now whilst this is like a thing, it's just going to look really bad. But he's done it anyway, so again, kudos to our lot.
Why would it look bad on me? That's not me.
It's just the timing of it. Not that it looks bad on you. It's just the timing of it that looked bad.
Still don't understand.
I don't see it. I get trolls in my comments all the time saying, "Oh, did you sell Ranty's P900?" Even as I literally show the thing on camera. So they're always poking with that nonsense.
Why are you concerned about trolls' feelings?
I don't care. I literally don't care. I couldn't care less about the people.
Seriously.
If you want to read hate, just go under it's titled "E-begging for an iPad" video and just read some of the comments. It's just pure hate. I couldn't give a crap.
It goes to show as well that you can actually make money out of your approach being, I mean, I think you're too heavy-handed at times, but obviously it seems to work because you're supported. Now, it's not necessarily the way I think it's good, but who cares? It works.
Look, this thing is not a gadget on top of the show that's supposed to be put on the side. No, this is a core maintenance device that nobody knows about necessarily until Nathan pointed out, yeah, I've actually been using this thing. And of course, everybody wants to keep the show going. So I think that's why he's got so much support, because it is a core thing to the program that everybody's been enjoying in the first place.
Precisely. That's it. I mean, like I say, up until me cursing it for several months, it took a while for the penny to drop that it was worthy of crowdfunding. Because you think, well, what do I need that I don't have that I could crowdfund? Not that I'm thinking in those, I'm not, racking my brains for things to get crowdfunded, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, I've never had the idea, oh, well, I could do with a drone. I should crowdfund one because then I'll get out and use, no, I won't. Or a camera. I could have crowdfunded a P1000, probably about the same sort of amount of money, maybe a little bit less. But I wouldn't use it. So what do I actually use? Well, I use my iPad. That's all I use all day, every day. Literally, I get the screen thing up. Anybody with an iPad will know what I'm talking about, right? And it says how long you've been using it per hour, how many hours of the day you've spent in front of this screen. And it tells you on a weekly report how many hours. And yesterday it came up, it's like, your time in front of this screen has increased to 14 hours a day. I'm like, fucking hell. I just slave to this iPad. It's no wonder it's worn out. Do you do a bit of housekeeping?
Yes.
Oh, go on then.
Let's do it.
Any signs of a physical geometric Earth curve edge called the horizon in their model?
No, but there is a fourth recapture of the horizon behind the oil platforms that the ballers tell us is like a one-off freaky accident. And he's done it of an evening, it looks. It's either evening or early morning when the sun's either just rising or just setting. And he's capturing what looks like the most artistic rendition of that observation that you could ever get. And again, the horizon is behind the fourth platform. So shout outs to BMSL69 or whatever your name is. Because basically you're killing the ballers because we've got a fixed distance that we can demonstrate that the geometric curve doesn't exist on anymore. Rest in peace, Globers.
I've got to totally agree with you. It looks like an oil painting. It's absolutely beautiful. We shouldn't be saying things like that about oil platforms, right? What? It just looks pretty. It's a really interesting observation to look at, and it looks nice, and everything's clear and crystal, and just looks cool, and the horizon's a million miles away. It's just great. Everything about it's perfect. The most recent one is actually not new. I think from his video, it's from 2017, from what I gleaned. I could be wrong about that, now that you've said or made out that it's new. I don't think it is, though. Nevertheless, he's gone through his archives and looked at various other observations that he's had of similar stuff, and just published it along with the mathematics to destroy globe geometry and the assertions on screen. It was a really good video by BMSB. Obviously, he gets it now. Not that I didn't think he got it in the first place, but my point is, one of his earlier releases after the Modus-Tollens argument was formulated by Quantum Eraser, he alluded to what the hell's a black swan. Now, that's fair enough. He didn't know that there'd been an argument formulated with his evidence being used as the example. But obviously now he has seen it, and he's like, this is a debunking of globe geometry. Check it out. In other words, he totally gets it, which is wonderful. You'd hope the person with the most prevalent black swan example would be, fully on board NIRS, which I'm delighted about, to say the least. But nevertheless, like you say, Anthony, his most recent capture, often when you're looking at some of these blurrier, images, no offense to your stuff with the Isle of Man and stuff, but it's not the most riveting of imagery, right? It's interesting when you're talking about the mathematics of it and working out what you're looking at, but the actual imagery itself isn't like bowl you over fantastic, whereas this was like, wow, that's really dramatic. So
you're right. I mean, the Isle of Man imagery was really like, it's like grey washed out. It's all shades of the same kind of tone it's all different tones of the same colour, basically bluey grey. There's not a lot to it. It looks kind of boring on the eye. And if you're really looking into it in the intricacies of, oh, that looks like a lighthouse. How far away is it? From that perspective, yeah, sure, it's great. But from is it aesthetically pleasing on the eye? No, it's just a blurred smudge on the horizon, as Alan B would say. But this one is just the opposite. This is like, it's just beautiful. It's just lovely colors of reds, oranges, yellows, all the lovely golden autumnal colors, and it's pretty, and it shows the horizon behind the fourth platform again. So it's like, yeah, that horizon is definitely not geometric, is it, boys and girls? But they're ignoring it because they don't like addressing it.
It was October 23rd, 2017 at sunrise, Anthony.
Yes, I thought it was. I've put, for comparison's sake, I'm really sorry, Anthony. I should have used some of Ranty's. Anyway, yeah, it's just, this is, what we're working with. What you're looking at on screen now is the north end of the Isle of Man. Very controversial, and that is not an understatement. That's the image, though, right?
And the thing is, ballers say, "Oh yeah, it's not Ireland, is it?" But they ignore the fact that it still shouldn't be seen, even though it's not. If it's the north end of the Isle of Man, but it's not the fact that it can be seen; it's the fact that there's weird stuff going on underneath it because it looks like it's floating. We now know that that's an inferior mirage of the sky above and the land that's making the horizon. It's being reflected underneath itself. But when I first saw that, I remember thinking, like, "What the hell is that? That makes no sense to me," and I didn't know what it was, but I put it out there because I wanted to see what the conclusion might be. I poked a few bears and, I said I thought it could have been Ireland because I did, because it looks like it's something big. Didn't realize it wasn't, but it doesn't change the fact that the ball is, just because it might not have been Ireland, still doesn't explain why we see it, because it still should be behind the curve. So
yeah, Tony.
It still stands.
Yeah, Tony, you got the first glimpse of the horizon looming above the horizon.
Yeah.
Funny though, years later, they didn't think that they would be denying the geometry of their geometrical horizon, right? You didn't think you would hear them saying, "Oh, we've never argued that the horizon's physical."
Right on.
Good times.
Yeah, good times. Welcome to Flat Earth. What's that? You say we don't need Earth geometry? Yeah. That's what we say too.
yeah.
Nathan, I've got to read out Right the Hands comments. He says, "Nathan, there's nothing but personal issues and a big crowd, no content." Shout outs to Right the Hand.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Anyway. Right, while this is on, I'm going to stick up the BLMSB video so people can check it out. Got links to their channels, which I'll stick on. I can't do it now, but when I'm actually playing the Uncut and After show, I'll make sure there's links to BLMSB and Mitchell from Australia. So I'll just stick some of the imagery on while we do the rest of the housekeeping. Any signs at all of any Earth curvature?
Not from Incline Village.
No, just a bit of refraction.
No curvature.
Not
But you
from
can
Incline
imagine
Village.
Don't be shy, people in
that's the
Discord.
north end of Lake Tahoe on Nevada side.
Any
Yeah,
signs
so
of
there's no curvature from Decline Village either.
any signs of axial rotation?
No, just a bit of refraction.
Any signs of an axis?
An axe?
It's the axis of evil.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Nah, just a bit of refraction.
I like how refraction is everything.
Yeah.
So I was
Yep,
watching
just a bit of refraction.
I was watching Arwen's show, right? I actually went on it, and just before I went on, Arwen's talking about the weather. He opens his show fairly similarly each time, and he literally is like, "The sun's just over there." I'm like, when he comes on the show and says "just over there," he actually means that, because he points it out to his audience.
Yeah. I do.
It's just over there. Yeah, that's so helpful. Right, let's move on. Any scientific
True,
evidence of gravity?
Nah, just a bit of refraction.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Nope, just a bit of refraction.
Is this going to be the answer to everything?
Yeah, they just all use the word.
Astrophysics, you say? And then celestial refraction. So any update on the new super galaxy that just exploded? Blah, blah, blah.
Well, you know when they say that we use the word perspective too much, and they call it flirspective, which is actually a really hard word to pronounce. Well, their criticism of our use of the word perspective we've got the same criticism of their use of the word refraction. The effects of refraction are known, defined, and quantified, and we can see demonstrations of them. And every observation that we do, none of them support their claims of refraction. They just use that word as a generic catch-all, the way that they accuse us of using perspective. But the thing is, with perspective, objects do get smaller as a function of distance, whereas with refraction, things don't fall behind no curve. So, you know, what's going on there? The use of language is what's going to kill this ball. Semantical arguments are going to kill it. Words have got meanings, and well,
the best part of that refraction, though, man. The best part, though, is how the refraction does two things at the same time. It will completely compress the oil rig that it looks like it's damn near drowning into the ocean, but at the same time, it gives you clear visibility so you can see the horizon past it.
See, the thing
Isn't
is,
refraction beautiful?
That compression's got a name, right? It's called stooping, and it's defined. We know what it is, but they still call it refraction. They should be calling it stooping, but we call it compression because that's what it looks like to us. But on their model, or at least in refraction, in actual science, not on their model, but in science, that compression's got a name. It's called stooping. So every time we see things looking squashed and they say, where's the bottom of the platforms? And it's not that the bottoms are missing, it's just that they're being squashed. That squashing is called stooping, and it has a name, but it's not. They just use the word refraction to catch all.
Yeah, but you got to imagine that to the ballers, all refraction basically is always looming to them because it's always has to be looming, that is, over their imaginary geometrical curve in order to be there. So everything is looming. They don't even care about the actual visuals of what's going on there because they just need to imagine that it's all looming.
But it's not only that. They conflate the use of the word looming to any refractive effects whatsoever. So if they see something that we would say, hey, that's towering because it's being stretched, and we've all seen it. We've all seen boats looking taller than what they should be. They'll go, oh, see, look, refraction. And it is technically refraction, but in their head, they hear bending round a curve. But in real world, we're seeing stretched, right? But they've got this word association with refraction to be bending round a curve. That's literally what they think when they hear that word.
And that's why I call it fractal looming.
Well, they got a problem because that curve is represented as R, and that R, which is their curve, is not there. So there's no looming over something that's not there.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
Are you kidding?
Boom, boom.
Right, just play out the last little bit of this video. Can you pop yourselves on mute?
6 over 7.
Or don't.
Radius of 3959 miles, then you, every single geometric horizon distance can be no more than 1.22 miles times the square root of the observer height in feet.
Agreed. Yep.
And so the black swan image that we have shows a horizon far in the distance past 1.22 miles. This is at 1 foot. Even if you say it's 5 feet, the geometric horizon should be 2.77 miles. And so not Q, we do not have a geometric horizon at that distance. So not P, the Earth is not a globe of 3959 miles.
Okay.
So unless you assert that the globe has a bigger radius.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. At best, what you have done, if that was all correct, at best, you would have disproved the radius of the Earth.
Oops.
Sorry, the volume was a bit quiet on that. I'm not entirely sure why.
I like how he says that, like, real flippantly. Like, so at best, you would have disproven the radius. Hello? That's the whole point, okay? Are you kidding?
I never claim the radius. Come on.
What the hell? At best, you've disproved the radius. Well, yeah, thanks. Welcome to Flat Earth, brother.
They just have
Bears
to
don't have
downplay chocolate.
radiuses. What is this?
They just have to downplay chocolate because they know they're dead.
Right, nice new icon.
Afternoon, guys.
Good to have
Hey,
you.
Adam.
I was just going to say, surely if you disprove
What's up,
R,
Adam?
then doesn't that disprove the size of the sun, the size of Venus? Because they're all based on R. The transits all come from R, don't they? Every bit.
that's why I say, wow, how does he say it so like, oh, that's all right. At the best you've done is disprove the radius. Yeah.
Can I answer that?
Kidding me,
Can I
bro?
answer that? Because cognitively, most people have got at least a minor degree of, or a minor ability to think with logic. And that is an expression of him saying, at best, because he understood the logic, he nodded along, yes, yes, I agree, 39.59, yes, 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 physical horizon, distance 2, yes, yes, yes. He agrees and agrees and agrees, and therefore he can only make the logical extrapolation that the logic dictates. Therefore, not a radius 39.59 sphere. And he says, well, at best you've debunked the radius. The one thing that is literally supposed to be set in stone, a stone-shaped sphere with a radius of 39.59 dictating the geometry that's been debunked. So everything falls apart once you lose that presupposed R value. No longer can you trust in R. No longer do the prayers, radius, dominus, gravitas, spiritus, sanctus. Yeah, none of that applies anymore. Because you can't trust in the R value. That is a presupposition that all the maths is based on, for you to extrapolate out all the rest of the bullshit that you claim. So long as you can trust in R, all of that bullshit works out. You just need faith in R. That you don't have anymore. The entire globe religion is so untenable that your fundy mentality leads you to deny the necessitated geometry when you deny the radius value. Well, we don't fight for a necessity to have a physical sphere edge for a horizon. No, that's the basis of your religion. So saying you don't claim for it, or don't fight for it, is a relinquishment of the claim you're on a physical sphere with a radius value that's in your geometry. They just don't realise how stupid they are when they literally give us these sound bites that we can trim out and go, there you go, you're saying the best we can do is debunk your very basis of your religion. That's not the best case scenario. What's the worst case scenario? You all run around like headless chickens jumping off cliffs like lemmings. Is that a worst case scenario? Because best case scenario is your sphere geometry is no more.
Basically, Nathan, he's attacked the black swan, but confirmed modus tollens. If the Earth is sphere with a radius of 39.59 miles p, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. So he's only confirmed the argument in modus tollens when he says that.
Yeah, it's logically sound. We're not standing on a globe-shaped surface because it would have physical restraints the geometry dictates. The very restraints and constraints that they tell us when they tell us boats go over it. That's a physical sphere edge for a horizon. It's a geometric horizon. It's part of the model that gives you a sphere edge when you take an R value and claim that that's the edge, that that's the outside edge of your sphere. That's the very physicality you're claiming with your assumed R value that we've debunked. It is literally game over. There's no escape.
Hey, Nathan, can you hear me?
Hey, Brian. Is that Brian?
Hi, Nathan, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, if it's okay, if you're done with the housekeeping, I would like to go over some stuff.
I think we've only got one question left. No, two. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without a container?
Nope.
Any evidence you can self-perpetuating
Nope.
molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope.
That's it. Housekeeping's done. Go ahead, mate.
Okay, so I would like to ask you, have you seen the latest video from labeled 10 challenges for flat?
No. On general principle, if you use your first name along with your title, I automatically assume you're a moron. So if you call yourself Dr. Phil or Dr. Becky, I'll just think moron, and therefore I don't watch. So no, unfortunately, I've not watched.
Yeah.
Especially if
So
you've not earned
I have
title.
watched it, and I would like to go over it if that's okay.
Sure.
So he starts his video by saying, and I quote, "This will be some basic things that anyone can do to test the validity of the flat Earth hypothesis. These are so mind-numbingly obvious that the fact that you don't do them is an immediate indicator of your complete lack of intellectual. So that's how he starts the video.
Just you have to, if you can you slow down? So we're going to pull this apart as you go through it. So his opener is to offer up a what's it called? Not when you group everyone together, a stereotyping fallacy, and also he claimed hypothesis for flat Earth models. Correct. So within the first opener, he's got a false dichotomy because he's going to be comparing a model that he's got as a, what was the first one I just said? Stereotyping fallacy. He's decided that all of us hold a model in false dichotomy to his globe model. And he's also incorrectly identified the word hypothesis. Hypothesis being a scientific prediction, which a model isn't. So within the first sentence, I'm glad I don't watch, he's absolutely crippled his own argument by way of 3 fallacies: a stereotyping fallacy, a strawman fallacy, and a false dichotomy. So he's got 3 fallacies, and he doesn't know what science is because he's declared that this model we are holding up has got a hypothesis, a scientific prediction attached. Cause and effect reasoning based on phenomena. No, it's not. He doesn't know what a hypothesis is, and he's got nothing but 3 fallacies in his opening gambit. Feel free to continue.
Yeah, I agree with just everything you said.
Real quick, I'm sorry, I didn't catch who are we talking about? Whose video is this?
Professor Day.
Ah, okay, that clown. All right, proceed.
He's the guy that
he has a video called Challenges for Flat
Earth. Okay, hold on one second. Go ahead, Adam.
Just a quickie, mate. He's the guy. I started to watch it and turned it off within about 5 minutes, mate. But I think he's on about intellectual honesty with regards to flat earthers, and that's why we're still thinking it's flat. And this is coming into a statement of intellectual honesty. It's coming from a man that uses a title of which is to indicate his level of education, and it's fake. He isn't a professor. I think, as far as I'm aware, he has a Bachelor of Science degree in chemistry. So I find it highly dubious that somebody who's purporting to be something he isn't is already coming out and attacking us for our intellectual honesty, which is.
Yeah, did you say that's no? Hold on, just one second, Anthony. Did you say he's got a BA in chemistry?
I think it's a BSc and 2 failed attempts at trying to do a master's degree in chemistry.
But he'd know what a hypothesis was.
Well, not if he's failed the master's twice, but you should have thought so to get through the degree. Yeah.
I don't want that to go into the. He would know what a hypothesis was given his accreditation. I'm not wrong.
No, I learned it in year 10.
But hold on, Anthony. I just want to get an agreement. He should know and would know, given his accreditation, what a hypothesis is. That is correct.
Yeah, it'd be a fundamental of his degree level that you'd be able to identify.
Absolutely.
Especially in something like chemistry, yeah.
Yeah, especially with chemistry, right. Applied science, right? So he'd know what a formulation of a hypothesis was, given his degree. And he's declaring in his opening part of this video that he's looking at a hypothesis for flat Earth models.
Yeah. Hypothesis for a model.
Yeah, he's talking about models quite a lot in this video, and this takes me to the first point. So his first challenge is make a real, and he's showing a AE map, of course, and explains how it can't be the real map. So that's a straw man already. So generally, people in the flat Earth community are not claiming that it's the actual map of the flat Earth. It's often used as a representation, and it's a good way of visualizing the flat Earth concept. And it's often used to illustrate the point rather than depict the actual.
Hang on a sec. If you go to Google and just type in all maps are wrong, you will find umpteen references that tell you that all the maps are wrong. Because no matter how you project it, no matter how you describe it, draw it, calculate it, scale it, no matter what you do, you can't get it to be accurate for some reason. And they always say it's because you can't wrap a ball around on a plane, right? So the piece of paper that you're drawing it on, or the screen, you can't wrap a sphere around it, and that's what they say. However, the fact is that all the maps that he thinks are right in the first place are openly admitted to be wrong anyway because of the way they're presented. So it's a straw man argument, you're right. Now, the other thing is, it's also a burden of proof reversal because it isn't on us to prove the land shape.
And even if they're right.
What?
Hold on, Chocolate.
So
burden of proof reversal fallacy, correct.
Reversal, because it isn't for us to prove anything unless we make claims. So we're not really making claims. No one claims that the AE map is actually a map. We're just saying it's a depiction, a description, an idea to get your head around the basic concept, right? It's not being touted as a map. That is a burden of proof reversal. And the other thing that's bizarre about his claim is, right. So when he says Professor Dave explains, and Adam was saying that it's a misrepresentation because he's not actually this, that, and the other. That's no different to people like Bob the Fallacy Guy when he claims the word science in his name and Blue Marble Science. None of them know what science is. Science is a method. We've gone over it 100 times. None of them know what a method is. Bob the Fallacy Guy tells people that you don't have to manipulate your independent variable. You can just watch nature take its course. Well, that's known as an observation or a correlation, but it's definitely not science. It's part of science, but it falls short. And he still maintains that position today, which is why I don't bother engaging with him. The guy's a moron. So just because Professor Dave presents himself as a professor and Blue Marble Science presents himself as some kind of ape scientist, and Bob the Science Guy presents himself as some kind of science guy, and Mick West presents to be some kind of science communicator, none of these guys know what science is. But everybody wants that comforting lie. That's why they can spew any nonsense, and all the subs will just lap it up like cats lapping up milk because they want to believe the inconvenient truth, the inconvenient lie. That's what they want. All they're doing is playing up to the drongos of society, and we're encouraging it by not pointing it out. We should be pointing it out every minute. Sorry, I'm done.
Right, just a quick shout out to Theo Megawerty. He says, massively increasing the radius destroys all supported orbital pathways. The heliocentric model then degenerates. Do ballers not realise this? I'll answer your rhetorical question. No, they don't. They're dumbos. They don't realise any of this. They're currently shooting themselves in the faces and then walking around like headless zombies thinking they've achieved something. Do you want to continue? Is it Kopnak?
Yeah.
Oh, no, Cog. How do you say your name? Cogito.
Can I just add something real quick?
Sure.
What Riley was saying. I mean, even if the map was wrong or right, it's still a reification fallacy. So what the hell is he talking about?
I was leaving that till the very end, actually, Chocolate. But yeah, I was going to wrap that all up.
I was also leaving that.
Yeah,
because I didn't go through everything.
No, that's fine. What Chocolate's just basically said is. It's just, let me just round up that was going to be the round out of the entirety of it, and I knew this from just seeing the thumbnail because he's got a reification fallacy on the thumbnail. So this is all wrapped up in one big fat reification fallacy. But I was going to leave that for the icing on the cake, but Chocolate's completely destroyed that. I just don't know what to say.
Sorry.
I'm kidding.
But yeah,
carry on.
So I mean, he's showing the AE map. I mean, he doesn't clearly know what azimuthal equidistant projection is. So maybe he should look up things. And he's also saying so anybody should be able to go into the world and make an accurate map of it. So my question is, why don't we have an accurate map?
Yeah, that's a very good point for me to add exactly the same or reiterate the same point. As Anthony pointed out earlier, it's a burden of proof reversal fallacy. We're not asserting a model. That's a reification fallacy. The map is not the territory. The map is not the terrain. The ground we're standing on is not a map. That's reification if you assert that a sphere-shaped model is the ground we're standing on, which he is. He's asserting the Earth is this sphere-shaped model. Reification. But I'd like to see it. I want to see the model he's claiming. I want to actually see it. So I'm not claiming a model. So this doesn't apply to me, for all the people spamming my comments with it. This doesn't apply. We don't reify models. We're not morons. We're not like this dick who's reified a model. It's clearly a heliocentric model. Look up reification. The fallacy of misplaced concretedness. Taking that which is not concrete, a model, heliocentric in this instance, and making it concrete like we're standing on an actual sphere. Now, to you guys, that might seem absurd. Well, we are standing on a sphere. No, you're just guilty of the fallacy of misplaced concreteness. They make it clear when they taught you at school that it's a model. So let's see it. If we're going to have an argument about models and their accuracy, not that we hold true to one, we're not asserting any models. But as he is, I want to see it.
The other thing is, Nathan, the fourth element to it is when this claim of make your own model up comes up, realistically speaking, what can you expect from us when the current rhetoric has all of the science, so-called science, people, resources, tools, equipment, infrastructure, financial support, time, and the ability to do the cartography required to make a map, and they admit that they can't even get it accurate, right? What would you expect from our side when the most that we've got to P900 and a compass? We pay for everything ourselves. Our community, we beg on the community to keep going. What realistically can you expect from us? It's
hold up, I got a question.
To expect anything like a map because we just don't have the resources.
Hold up, I got a question. Anytime we've asked for the globe model, have we ever gotten one? Where's the globe model? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and ironically, he's showing a 2D flat map of the US, and then uses that to show how the map works with navigation, just a straight, and that somehow refutes the aim. So I would like to see him show us a globe, which is used for navigation.
Yeah.
Instead of a 2D
The next time he talks about a model, ask him to present his model, the all-encompassing globe model. Please present that because I have yet to see it. Nobody I know has seen it. So where's their model? All this nonsense talk about where's our model, where's our map? Reification fallacy from the get-go. Are you kidding?
Right. Did you have any more notes?
I don't get.
Hold on, just one second.
Yeah, I don't get why people are. Okay.
No, I'm asking you to continue. If you have got more notes on this Professor Dave dude.
Yeah, I have. So I mean, so he's. I mean, he's talking about model quite a lot. So I mean, what's the in predictions? So everybody's stuck on model and predictions. So what's the first step in trying to predict anything? You do observations. You gather a shitload of data. I mean, you can use that to predict an event regardless of any visual model attached to it. I mean, you can say what time the sunrise will happen tomorrow, and it doesn't require any model. It requires historic data. I mean, you can also construct any map and just assign data points to locations which are correct according to observation. And then you can just say, oh, there are infinite number of suns teleporting everywhere. And that's why all the data is correct. So making up a just so story that go along with the data doesn't make it true.
Good point.
So his opening point is make a real map.
Yeah.
When he doesn't have a real map, we don't assert that we need to reify any of these maps or models into existence. All of the models are based on sphere. Oh, my bad, Darwin. Sorry.
But never mind.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Look, what is a map? I'm pretty sure that all maps ever of this realm are all projections. And that projection is based on a certain coordinate system that correlates with the globe of the heaven positions. But that does not actually reveal the actual geometrical, literal physical orientation of it all. So all of these maps are projections. I've never seen a map that was basically literal in a way that we could even approach it like a model. I haven't come across it. So all maps are projections. They're never going to be literal. As far as I've seen. Anyway, I'm done.
Yeah. So then we can move on to the next point. So his second point is explain amounts of night and day. And again, he shows the map and he shows a depiction of sun and the moon and says cannot be the real map. And the Antarctic cannot have the amount of sunlight or daylight that it has. So again, he's strawmanning using the A map to show how.
Tell them 2015 called and wants their arguments back. That nonsense.
Yeah, you're spot on. Definitely.
Okay, so does that mean I can just skip past number 2 then? Because it's just essentially the same. He's just holding up a straw man in false dichotomy in the form of this reified model he has us tied to with a stereotyping fallacy. So to make this example, he's got 4 fallacies so far. 5 if you include reification itself.
Yes, and we can move on to the third point. So he says, make any prediction whatsoever. And then he says, pick a date and time, and then predict an event using only the flat Earth map. And of course, he's showing the A map. So
he's just towing the line. He's just holding up this false dichotomy strawman map model reification fallacy as a stereotyping fallacy again for point 3. So it's all based on you must hold this map that I'm going to burn. Okay.
Yes, and then he says we can predict eclipse, thus proving the Earth is round and is between the sun. I mean, I wonder what orders of magnitude we can assign to this extrapolated conclusion. I mean, the people have predicted eclipses long before the model. I mean, even their globe Bible, nasa.gov, is saying, and I quote, by about 20 BC, surviving documents show that Chinese astrologers understood what caused eclipses. And by 8 BC, some predictions of total solar eclipses were made using the 135-month reoccurrence period. By 206 AD, they could predict solar eclipses by analyzing them. So you don't need a globe model to predict. That's basically.
Okay, I'll just read out this. It's on my big screen, so it's going to be difficult to read out. Reification fallacy. Reification, also known as concretism, hypothesization, or the fallacy of misplaced concretedness, is a fallacy of ambiguity when an abstraction, abstract belief, or hypothetical construct is treated as if it were a concrete, real event or physical entity. In other words, it is the error of treating something that is not concrete, such as an idea, as a concrete thing. A common case of reification is the confusion of a model with reality. The map is not the terrain.
I still don't think he gets it.
Okay, number 4.
I'll slow you and see it. Say it.
Looks like we're doing this.
Yeah.
We've got 10 minutes left on the live show. Let's rattle our way through them. 10. Number 4.
Yeah. So number 4. Yes. And hold on to your seats right now. Show something over land far away. Show us something over land that is 1,000 miles away. Use a telescope and show us Las Vegas from Dallas. What is the problem here?
Okay. Okay, let's just address these quickly. Okay, no worries. He needs to look into angular size resolution limits based on apertures of the camera or optics of the telescope in this example. The telescope has an angular resolution limit. You can calculate this limit with the Rayleigh criteria. Things get smaller as they get further away. At 1,000 miles, things get too small to see. What I would recommend for Professor Dave, go and watch a little excerpt from a series called Father Ted, where it is explained that the toy cow close to you is small, but the cow that's full size in the distance on the hill is merely far away. Now this is called perspective. If you're trying to look at New York from England, it's too small to see. The angle is too limited. Now, given that this guy professes to be a professor, I would think he would understand that things get smaller as you get further away from them. And 1,000 miles is far too far to resolve things. Their angle is too small. So I'll just declare right here, right now, pure stupidity on account of Professor Dave. Do you not understand that things get smaller as they get further away? Oh, I know why he thinks this way. Because his model is based in geometry. And his model would use actual sizes for things in the distance. For example, if you were to ask him how much of whatever the hell this is on the horizon is being obscured, he would tell you in feet and inches or meters how big this item is and how much is blocked. However, these items at 1,000 miles will still be the exact same feet and inches value, precisely as his model calculates for. Now, that would mean his globe model and its mathematics ignores perspective. And because his model of a globe Earth ignores perspective, he expects us to express the same exact fuckwittery and assume that we can see things at 1,000 miles. No, it's only your model that excludes the angle of things getting smaller as they get further away. Why on earth would the failings of your heliocentric model and its complete lack of angular size reduction be somehow transferable onto us as flat earthers being able to see things when you removed the hijacking of this perspective effect, which you've called Earth curve, in your perspective exclusive maths? You complete clown! So, Professor Dave, would you expect the angular resolution to be conforming to seeing things at 1,000 miles? How big would something have to be in angular size to see it at 1,000 miles on any shaped surface? You complete clown. Then, when you've answered all of those questions, explain why the hell your geometric maths excludes perspective, and for some reason completely ignores the fact that these things are very small in the distance. You'll give me their size in feet and inches, won't you? You complete clown. Telling us that you think things stay the same size at any distance because their feet and inches value doesn't change in your globe maths. Yeah, they do. Their angular size, also known as apparent size, gets smaller with distance. Funny coincidence, Professor Dave. People are telling us all about how apparent everything is at the moment, not realising, like you, that their calculations for a sphere-Earth reification fallacy utilises actual sizes rather than apparent sizes. That would be the angular size that gets small as it gets further away. Yeah, this would be a very big angular size if we were right next to it, but you'll still give it in feet and inches and then ask us to justify why we can't see it at 1,000 miles? Your calculator excludes perspective, you complete moron. Should we move on to number 5?
Hang on, before you do, I had somebody on my channel. He sent me a message and he says, Sleeping Warrior, I'll give you £1,000 if you can show me any picture or video of the Mourne Mountains in Northern Ireland from anywhere on the coast of England. Should be piss easy on a flat earth given a clear day. And I thought, Mourne Mountains. Let me go and have a little look at that and see what the angular size should be. So I looked into it and I realised that it's just too small to see. It's not a big enough mountain. So anyway, I thought, should I respond or should I ignore? But because you've asked a question about the angular size and why you can't see Paris from New York or whatever, because Professor Dave's put it in his video, it directly addresses the point that Nathan's just said, but it puts it with a little bit of maths because they all say, oh, you can't do any maths, Riley. So I thought, right, okay. So here's my response to him. It says, Dear MJH, this is the guy. I said, I've had a little look at this for you. Your claim is, quote, should be piss easy on a flat earth given a clear day, unquote. Assuming an Earth with no atmosphere at all, just looking at the geometry in isolation, Sleeve Muck, which is the name of the mountain that's near him, happens to be 674 meters high from sea level. It is 160,934 meters away from the English coast. This gives it an angular size of 0.2 degrees. 0.2 degrees is a random number to you, I'm sure. So let's add something to help to scale it to help you. The longest ground-to-ground line of sight ever photographed is 237 miles from Mount Canigou in the French Pyrenees to the French Alps against the background of a setting sun. Canigou is 381,215 miles away or meters away from the target, and the target is the French Alps. The maximum height is 4,800 meters of Mount Blanc. This makes the longest ever camera observation 237 miles, and a mountain much bigger than the one in Ireland happens to be 0.7 degrees. So your distance of 100 miles is within the distance that we can see. And if we assume no atmosphere whatsoever, it is possible. However, because the only one I randomly picked happens to be 674 meters high, it simply is not big enough to see, even with a zoom lens. It's just too small at 0.239 degrees. Obviously, that's compared to 0.7 with the Canigou one. You can find more about perspective if you pay attention to Flat Earth channels. You can find more about the Canigou observation from this link. There are many others documenting this observation with evidence to show you what could be seen and how small it actually is. You can calculate your own angular sizes with this link. You can check your own distances on Google Earth and convert them into the same units using online converters easily. So back to your claim. Should be piss easy on a flat Earth given a clear day. Even without any atmosphere whatsoever, it is simply too small to see because of something called perspective. With an atmosphere, something you can't already seen still cannot be seen. I've explained to you fully why you are wrong, supported it with evidence contrary to your perception, and even done a little bit of maths, so it must be true, right? Will you now admit your claim is simply wrong, and you have no idea whatsoever of perspective? Although it is close enough, it isn't big enough, despite your claim that it is. That's how to deal with a troll.
Yeah, and we know he's excluding perspective because he's giving you the values in feet and inches or meters, which won't change with distance. So, chap in Discord, Cogito, we're on number 5. Keep watching the boat.
Yes, keep watching the boat. Yes, that one you already, I think, covered in your response. So it's obvious that he hasn't done any research, because he says we should put on YouTube how boats disappear bottom first. And there are, I don't know, thousands of videos of flat earthers doing just that, and he's asking us to do that. So it clearly shows his investigation, I would say.
Okay, so presumably this is a question based on the idea that we have a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon for these boats to go over, and then be blocked from bottom up based on the physical geometry when assuming R. Correct?
Yes, and that's where the...
No worries, I just need a yes. So, given that he's asking us to keep our eye on the boat and it's going over a physical geometric sphere edge, I'd like to draw his attention to an observation we've dubbed the Black Swan. Now, in the Black Swan, the previously claimed, to be physical geometric sphere edge is currently being refracted non-geometric, non-physical, according to the fundies who fight here with actual flat earthers who aren't strawmanned by morons using endless fallacies like Professor Dave. So given that he thinks that boat in his imagery is going over a physical geometric sphere edge calculable with an R, they assume, I'd like to know why in the Black Swan image we have a physical geometric horizon that is way beyond the limitations of the geometry laid down by assuming that R value. And therefore, all of his cohorts of fundy globe heads are telling us just how non-physical this horizon is, using redundant words like apparent and refracted. So, Professor Dave, is this a non-geometric, non-physical horizon? Or is it the geometric necessity that it must be, based on an R value you assume in your maths that excludes perspective, when you ask us why we can't see things at 1,000 miles? And then when you've wrapped your head around all that, try to explain how we've got a horizon way beyond 9.41 miles, given that the distance to horizon should be about 1.22 miles in the Black Swan images we keep getting over and over again. We've got loads of them now, they're piling up. So we definitely don't have a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon for boats to go over. So why would we keep watching the boat when all of your cohorts are telling us just how non-physical that horizon is? So try and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate, Professor Dave. You're claiming a physical geometry that's being denied by your cohorts, you moron. We move on to number 6.
Before you do, Nate, just on the geometric stuff, you set me a bit of homework this week. And can you just pull up the Black Swan picture first? Because it's just something geometric consequences again that come from areas. So we've got the two platforms, and obviously we are, as the observer, some 6 miles away, can see the first platform. And we've got all the refraction mass, but just the distance between the two platforms is basically 3 miles, which would be about 6 foot, you're assuming. But actually, it isn't, is it? Because it's the applied curvature that the observer sees. So even though it's rendering as flat, and you can see from a perspective point of view, the second platform is higher up. Technically, in terms of the way the cumulative curvature would play out and how that would reflect for the observer if it was on a ball, instead of it just being a 6 foot difference, which would be the geometric drop between the two platforms, but from the observer's point of view, the actual differential you would see in terms of the sea level is actually 33 feet. So that second platform should be 33 foot lower than the first one, even though we clearly see it's higher.
Perfect. So yeah, there's a lot of problem with asserting that boats go over the curve because you don't have a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon anymore. Maybe, as I say, he needs to keep up to date with the flat Earth debate. Can we move on to number 6?
Yes.
Explain
so number
sunsets.
6, it says explains. He is stating that a small sun above the flat Earth would simply recede high in the sky and get smaller and smaller until it fades. So clearly here is also perspective. So he thinks that the sun would stay at the same spot in the sky, just get smaller.
Based on his assumptions that he has used when, I keep forgetting that fallacy, when he uses his stereotyping fallacy that suggests a particular size and distance to a sun on a model he's held up in false dichotomy. It's a bit of a mouthful. He says that the sun should do something based on its physicality and distance that we don't know and don't claim here. So we make no claims about the distance to the sun, its size, and what it should or shouldn't do because we don't know what it is. However, he does make a claim, 93 million miles based on an R value that would give him a physical geometric horizon for his boats to go over, and that's been debunked. They don't have a physical geometric R value at 39, 59 miles anymore. Apparently it's refracted and non-geometric. So what are you going to base this distance to the sun on? For your model and your assertion, because we aren't making any claims about the sun. It's a very wondrous thing we say here. We don't claim it's some little dot that's going over a model. Even though you've decided to hold that up as a straw man that we don't claim. Moving on, number 7.
Yes, so number 7, it says, say anything about the lunar eclipse. So he's explaining how the lunar eclipse works, and he's showing a drawing, and that somehow is proof that what their claim is actually.
So he's showing a drawing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
So what? Say something about the lunar eclipse. Doesn't it go red?
Yep.
It goes red. There you go. I've said something about the lunar eclipse. I make no claims about it. I've witnessed one and filmed it. It got very, very cold when it went to totality. And although I'm colourblind and I couldn't actually confirm this, I've got pictures of it and I'm told it's red. But nevertheless, apparently it goes red.
Yeah.
Makes no sense whatsoever.
I've seen one. It goes red. I can confirm. Yes. Never seen a red shadow, so can't. When people say that that's a shadow, okay. How do you prove that? Anyway, moving on.
And the Seleninian, if I'm saying that word correctly, that doesn't work in his model. Moving on.
Seleninian.
That's the one.
Yep.
Set up a camera. Oh, we've got this reification strawman stereotyping fallacy on screen again. What a shock. Send a camera up to the sun or moon. I don't know how far it is.
Yeah.
It's based on his assumption that we're using this model. We're not. We're yet to see his model.
Yeah, and what's even funny about this, he said that we should send up a balloon, and with some clever robotics, we could even
So what's that going to prove exactly?
What can you answer to?
But what for? Send up a camera to the sun or moon. Okay. For what? Assuming it's a physical place we could get to. Okay, let's move on. Take some flights.
Yeah,
I used to be an international rep. I've travelled everywhere. You'd struggle to find somewhere I haven't been. Take some flights. Yeah, every single flight I took, what I witnessed on the flights was endless numpties, rows and rows of them with headphones on, listening to a shit series of radio channels and watching crap television that you couldn't really watch with engine noise, or trying to get to sleep, or trying to get drunk, or reading a magazine or book. That's what I witnessed. What I did on my flights when I flew all over the world, undoubtedly flew a lot more than Professor Dave will ever do in his entire lifetime, was I witnessed the flat plane below us. I also witnessed the horizon, which was claimed to be a physical sphere edge that should bend at the altitudes I was flying at, never bending, just seeing endless flat plane beneath me. So, if you want to go for a pissing competition, Professor Dave, I've taken a damn sight more flights than you ever will. Now, maybe there's other people out there like Wolfie, thank you very much indeed for supporting my GoFundMe campaign, who've taken more flights than I have. And they might well lie to you about the horizon being a physical geometric edge that bends at altitudes that they don't achieve, and they claim not to be able to bend until you get higher, according to their priests like Neil deGrasse Tyson. But so what? If you're going to claim that flights are going to prove some sort of sphereiness, then I'd like to know how. Because even your Neil deGrasse Tyson priest tells you that you can't see curvature, that would be if you reify the edge of the sphere into the horizon, until you reach about 120,000 feet. Right, what's his pièce de résistance then? What's number 10? Do anything scientific at all ever? Didn't we open this with him saying that the model he's going to be comparing should have hypothesis validated for it? Do something with science. You don't know what science is if you're talking about hypothesis at the beginning of this little presentation. What the hell are you talking about? Tell us what the hypothesis was you were talking about at the beginning of this presentation. Then I'll take you seriously when you mention the word science. Nothing you've done ever to do with this subject, ever, was scientific, Professor Dave. You will not give me any scientific evidence. We've spent the last 6 months asking for a single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics, and there's none. Science? How dare you? All you have in your heliocentric reification fallacy is pseudoscience. Does anybody have anything to add? I'm going to round out the live show, if not.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
There was somebody that did something scientific on this very panel. He got an egg, added a bit of mass to the medium, and it made the egg move. Now, if F equals ma, and the A, the acceleration, was the egg moving, then there must have been a force there. Well, here's the thing. It went the opposite way to what your model would predict, because if I add mass below the egg, that would attract the mass, wouldn't it, on your model? But it didn't do that. It pushed the egg away. So we have done an experiment scientifically, and you haven't even credited us for it, but it debunks your notion of gravity. Have a great day.
Perfect. And did you want to add something behind Cogito?
Yeah, I mean, he says a lot of stupid stuff here, and he says that invent any technology based on. Have you ever heard anything more stupid than that? I mean, what technology advances have we got from the non-existing globe? That's what I would like.
No, spot on. I mean, I had no intention of going through Professor Dave's nonsense, but the fact that we've done it on a live show while I'll be sat here anyway is, brilliant. I've got no issue with doing that. So thank you very much for bringing it to our attention, even though I wouldn't have necessarily watched his video. I feel like I've got the general gist of his straw man fallacies, his burden of proof reversal fallacies, his stereotyping fallacies, his reification fallacies. Yeah, we got the general gist. So with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, this is where I bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. I think there was actually one last super chat from Chow Yun Cat. Shout out to Bunny Mac. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat, Chow Yun Cat. As I say, stay tuned if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!